What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. My name is Nick Sakis. I am not Greg McDaniel. I'm much more handsome, and he is on his way, so don't tell him I said that. But I have one of my best buddies here, Mr. Jamar James. We had him on about a month ago, and we had such a good conversation for about 45 minutes that we left out so much and so many details that we had to get him back on really, really soon to go over kind of a few things. I know the title is a little bit clickbaity, but Jamar's a finance expert, especially in the crypto space and the trading space, understands real estate because he had his license for many, many years, had a big team. And so he's the perfect person that I wanted to kind of dive in a little bit and talk about what exactly is going on with the dollar, what's going on with central bank digital currency, what's crypto look like right now, and kind of get into the weeds a little bit. But before we do that, Mr. Gene Volpe, the evil bald ninja, how are you today, my friend?
Doing better than you, my man. I got to tell you.
Was that pretty good, though? That took all of my energy. I don't feel good right now, but that was...
Well, listen, I'd like to talk to the people about diarrhea, if we can. Can we do that live on the air?
Yeah, let's do it live. Let's do it live.
I'll let you tell the story real quick, because if I tell it, you know it's going to take a twist.
So Cinco de Mayo was last week, and my 3-year-old son decided to get sick, and I'm sick now. I think I have this sickness. I have a low-grade fever right now, and I don't feel good. But for Cinco de Mayo, he decided to have what he called diarrhea. So it's a new form of margarita, except it goes out instead of going in. And so we got a good kick of that over the weekend, and that's just how when he heard the term diarrhea, he just instantly called it diarrhea. So I think that's what we're going to call it from now on.
I think that's funny. I think my kids actually did the same thing too. So this is a good lead-in for us, because diarrhea. Yeah, so talking about your last show with James. Yeah. No, but I kind of feel like it's an interesting lead-in, because I wasn't here for the last show, right? And I'm going to pretend I don't know anything about Jamar, and I want to start with this. Let's real quick, Jamar, if you don't mind, just for the folks that are jumping in now, can you give me a high-level synopsis of what you guys talked about last time, and then we can kind of jump into the new stuff today?
Man, I think we talked about the landscape of real estate, cashless society. Right now, a lot of people aren't aware that we're already in a cashless society. And how does that impact real estate? How does having smart contracts and things going digital, how does it affect real estate? And why is it sometimes real estate agents are slow to adapt? I think we talked a little bit about AI. We talked about the marketing. We talked about how information becomes power. And it's also something that can be used to educate, the homeowners, homeowners that are, resistant to crypto and new ways to sell your property, receiving crypto for your property. You still can receive it in a stable coin and convert it over to a US dollar. Is just being open to, new information and adjusting to the times. I think that was the main concept. For me, I was in real estate for many years, and in 2009, it gave me an opportunity to get into the stock market and trading. And it was the same time that crypto came on to the mainstream, 2009, 2010, but it was still underground. And it was we were slow to adopt, and a lot of times, the slowness to adopt and recognize the opportunities, it ends up costing us, and we want to go back. And so I say now we have an opportunity now to recognize how the landscape, the economy, how the world is changing, and how do we, use that information and get ahead of the curve, and how do we use it, to generate wealth. And I think real estate agents, anyone that's in the economy now, we see what's happening with AI and chat GP3 and just the information that's available, and how that's going to change the landscape, but also how is currency going to change it? We have global currency that we're no longer operating under where dollar is king. There's BRICS, there's new currencies that's coming in. You had the euro, you have all these options. And how do we take advantage of it? And it also, we see that, is currency, does it have the same value? Because now even in real estate, you have solar coming on, and it says, hey, you build houses now, you have to have solar in places in California. How do real estate agents take advantage of that? Or how do we take advantage of just the opportunities that we have? And so I think today we're going to talk about the central banking and what does that mean when we talk about CBDCs and electronic payments.
So the one thing that was interesting to me when crypto first kind of went, so you mentioned crypto being mainstream in 08 and 09, right? I would say that was very early for the most part, right? Most people didn't wake up to crypto to this last cycle 2 or 3 years ago, which me included, right? And that's how we fully connected. I was like, I need to get closer to Jamar, right?
Yeah, I misspoke on it being mainstream. It became available to the public.
Available,
right?
yeah. There you go. There you go. So the thing that's interesting is some agents did adapt, and there were some transactions that happened in Bitcoin, and it was an interesting time to say, well, you had mentioned that you could transfer, right? So like if I accepted something in Bitcoin or USDC stablecoin, like I can then transfer that into real cash, quote unquote cash.
Right.
But what's the premium for that? Right. So if you were selling a multi-million, say $2.5 million house in California, cash, was the Bitcoin price $3 million? Because there's a premium because I'm allowing you to pay in Bitcoin. So the value perceived isn't necessarily there and I have to do all these transfers and all this extra stuff. Or was it dollar for dollar? And is that what's going to happen with this central bank digital currency? Is it going to be a premium? Are you going to be able to say, I put my marketing hat on, right? Immediately I go, how can I go to a seller and say, I can get you more money for your house? Well, if you're willing to do a little bit of an extra step, like transfer, money from a cold wallet to a hot wallet and like all these different things in the back end, instead of just taking a cash from a title company, you could get a premium for your house with a little extra work on the back end. So is that kind of the near time future of you could take advantage of this market and things changing, or is the dollar just going to completely go away and we're just going to be USDC only and survival off?
No, not at all. I think we'll never just be crypto or USDC only. There's a preference. Some people, like right now, you have an outflow of money in banks. People don't want their money in banks. They're looking for other places to put it. There are some people out there that want crypto more than they want dollars.
Right.
So, you're
one of those people, I think, right?
I would take crypto before I took dollars.
Yeah.
And also there's a pass through, right? Historically, the real estate market has worked on escrow companies, title companies, money being transferred from one place to another, everybody getting a cut of it. If Nick said, hey, I'm just going to send you $2 million in USDC and we can bypass that and you'll have it in the next 2 minutes.
Right.
And sign over the house. I would love to do that if that was the option. And he's like, well, hey, we go through this process. I want 2.1. I was like, hey, maybe I'll just accept 2 million if you just send it to me right now.
Right. So that's more decentralized. And I think that's where this USDC play is totally, I mean, not USDC, but CBDC is different because the government's going to track everything at a very high level, right? They want to be able to have everything. So like in my mind, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm sure you will, everything's going to flow through like the IRS, just like it would flow through Stripe or PayPal or any other merchant. There's going to be like a government merchant that controls all of the transactions with central bank digital currency.
Right.
And so what if they say, hey, you can't buy this house? We don't want you to buy this house with CBDC. Like
that's the fear, right? Yeah. That is the fear, is that when we convert everything to digital, or we have a CBDC that's controlling where the money is issued. So if I'm the government and I issued you $1 million to your digital wallet,
yeah,
every time you spend it, now you have a web. There's a chain that, he sent it to this wallet, he sent this wallet, this wallet. If you gave me $1 million in cash, I walk outside the room, I close the door,
yeah,
and you don't know where to cash it at anymore, right? So there's if you've ever been audited by the IRS, there's an accounting that they'll go to your bank accounts and then they'll go through every transaction, wires, where ATMs is used. It'll be at a push of a button through CBDCs,
right?
Where it'll be, hey, you had $1 million in, and you just earned that income. We at least get 20%.
Right. Yeah, it'll be like Quicken or QuickBooks online, right? I'll just be able to click a button and here's the P&L. Where's my money?
And that's that is another form of tracking that historically hasn't been as easy. And you look at even the Fed now that's launching that's active, but it's going to be launching in July. where the government has Zelle and Cash App, right?
Right.
You know, you ever thought about emails and text messaging? You know, why do you need to send a wire and it takes a day or two to get there?
Right.
You know, you can send an email, text message is instant. Zelle, Cash App is instant. So the Fed now, thing that they're doing, it is giving them a federal payment rail that everything is instant.
Yeah. So if I'm a real estate agent and I'm thinking about marketing and I'm thinking about just in general future proofing my business, like there's real estate companies that popped up when crypto was really popular a couple years ago about blockchain and removing the title company. But how can I have an educated conversation with a homeowner if they bring up the fact that, hey, do you know anything about this central bank digital currency that's coming? How is that going to affect the sale or the listing of my house in July? Is there, like, do we just not know? Or how would you, as somebody who was in real estate, maybe approach that conversation if you get asked?
I would tell them that, you know, the digital currencies and cryptocurrencies, it's still a currency. Yeah. So it's no different than if you had Mexican pesos or Japanese yen. It is just another currency. On the flip side, I would tell them that marketing to crypto guys or marketing to people that want to interact, you want to open your market up. So maybe, you know, if we had your property globally listed, you know, a lot of times we think locally. And even when it comes to crypto, people think, oh, you know, in the United States, the price is 28,000 for a Bitcoin. In another country, the price may be 30,000 or 24,000. And even if the United States were to shut down and says, hey, crypto is legal here, it's still legal in other places in the world. So, you know,
isn't that how Sam Bankman-Fried made his money? Was one market to another?
Well, he was in
trading?
Bahamas. No, I mean, all the investors, since he was regulated, right? Regulated, for instance, they deposit all the funds. You know,
yeah, but I thought initially his scam or his initial way he made money was trading market to market, like Facebook or arbitrage. How you would say Gary V, like go buy a hat at a fucking flea market and then flip it on Facebook Marketplace. Like that's what he was doing with Bitcoin. He was buying in Japan and then selling in US or whatever, and then making that small arbitrage.
Yeah, over again. I mean, that's where all the exchanges make their funds off arbitrage and transaction fees. And
yeah,
I mean, he was operating as, you know, a crypto bank pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. The crypto bank doesn't have any assets. It takes it from you and loans it to someone else.
And not only that, but if you believe what you were reading, he was taking your $28,000 for a Bitcoin and never buying Bitcoin. Right. Like he didn't have it backed by anything. So it was basically him just stealing money from the people that were giving it to him.
Yeah.
There were no, you know, assets backed by the transaction. So look, I want to step back a little bit because this is getting out of control for me from a perspective of, here's what I mean. I know enough to be dangerous, right? And now it creates a bunch of questions for me when I get a guy like you on. I want to dig into some things that regular folks are thinking about, right? When it comes to some of this digital currency. So I want to throw at you a couple objections, and I want you to tell me why they're wrong, or maybe in certain cases why they're right. And if they are right, how do we avoid these things? Like, for example, I think a big fear for a lot of people, and I know I think about this a lot, is the volatility of let's just stay with Bitcoin for the moment, just because it's the most well known and probably the most the one that'll probably between that and Ethereum will stick around the longest, right? I don't think Dogecoin is going to have a lot to do in the next 2.5 years unless Elon Musk is still running around.
Yeah, whatever the Twitter coin's going to be, whatever it means. Yeah.
Wait, so real quick before we get into that, have you seen the Beatcoin yet?
Which one?
The Beatcoin, BEET.
I mean, there's so many meme coins right now.
All right, so Jamar, I'm going to do this. Nick, while I'm asking Jamar some of these questions, go to thebeatcoin.com, and then we're going to share it on the screen in a second.
Okay.
I died laughing. So real quick, Jamar, the first question I have for you is this. You know, if we're saying that Bitcoin, you would rather have Bitcoin than the USD. You said that already, right? Talk to me about the volatility of this, right? Here's the one thing.
No. I store mine in USDC, but I'm a Bitcoin maximus. I long term, Bitcoin is king. But for stability, I use USDC and USDT.
All right, so that's huge. That was a huge clarification for me. That's awesome because
right.
The one thing
I'm a trader.
Got it. Okay,
right?
okay, good. Because I think a lot of times people don't understand that element of it, right? So you think like, okay, Nick's going to do a marketing service for me, and he accepts dollars instead of dollars. He accepts Bitcoin. So he says it's usually $1,000 an hour for my service. I could ship him $1,000 in currency, USD, or I could ship him $1,000 in Bitcoin, right? The volatility of that means that tomorrow that $1,000 might be worth 600 versus it might be worth $2,000.
Right.
Right. How do you account for the volatility in that when it comes to transaction based relationships? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, you can accept any currency any form of payment is a form of payment, but it becomes a management process after. So if I received 1,800 in Ethereum, I can convert it into USDC as part of my process of being my own bank, right? And I'll hold some of it in reserve. So as a trader, I don't care about
I didn't mean to say that right now, sorry.
I care about wealth, and I care about generate and accumulate wealth. And so I converted to USD, I converted to USDC. I manage through the price fluctuation of what I want to hold. I hold a lot of crypto in Bitcoin and Ethereum because I want to accumulate that for wealth, but also have to pay bills on a monthly basis. And I will hold things in USDC, and I use 50% of stablecoin to trade. So even the trading platforms I trade off of, they only trade in USDC. You can trade any asset, but when you cash out in USDC.
And so that's interesting. So the way you just said it to me, coming from old school, it's almost like I have an E-Trade account. I'm holding all my money in the cash account for E-Trade, but I'm investing some of that into JP Morgan,
you may like Facebook and Apple, maybe your favorite. So you'll say, hey, I want to get more Apple and Facebook stock. I believe in that long term. So you'll get $1,000 in. You'll say, hey, 500 goes to Apple and Facebook, but then 500 is going to stay in my USD account because I need that to make more money with.
Got it. Okay, that's really good. Okay,
so that's account management.
That's good. So that's really interesting. Like, it's funny that even from my perspective, I mess around with this stuff, and I don't notice I said mess around with it. Right? If you looked at my books, you'd probably be like, oh my god, that's awful. But
you're the one who mentioned this coin, so yeah, we know where you're at.
Well, no. Wait, let me be clear so we can show Jamar what this is. I literally have gone down this rabbit hole recently, and I don't know why. I think one of these TikTok videos was served to me, and I just ended up dying laughing. Oh, the meme that's going around right now. What are you doing out there? And he's like, oh, me? Nothing, just hanging around, right? You know what I'm talking about? So I was watching Howard Stern the other day, and this ad popped up, and I was like, what is this? I didn't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. It's hilarious, though. So pull up the screen real quick, just so Jamar, I don't know what you think about
the Bitcoin.
Yeah,
his Beetlejuice from Howard Stern has his own coin.
Yes.
Do you think so? From a professional perspective, Jamar, is this something you'll be jumping on immediately?
No. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. I mean,
Jamar is instantly regretting his decision to be on the show. I think right now. That's what...
All right. We'll do a lot of things for money, right? And for us, we're volume traders. Like we'll trade anything that's moving to make money, but we don't believe in 80% of what we trade. Right? A lot of the cryptos out there's 20,000 cryptos, and there's 20 of them that make up 90% of the market. Right? Yep. The top 20 cryptos make up the majority of the market. So, Bitcoin by itself is 45% of the entire crypto market. Then you have 5 stable coins that make up another 20%. Then you have Ethereum make up another 18%. Okay. So right there, you have about 90% of your market in 20 cryptos. Right? The other 10% is just all speculation. And even when people say, hey, I invest in gold or silver, to me, I tell them, like, I'll go buy a luxury car, or I'll go buy a motorcycle, or I'll go buy some land. To me, that's a savings account. Silver, gold, land, and land is actually better than, people go buy silver and gold. It's like, why don't you just go buy land?
Yeah.
Right. You have a physical asset that's there and you can cash out and lend against it. Some of the gold and silver people are buying is not even real.
And they don't even have possession of it. They're
They
buying.
never have possession. They're buying paper. They say they have gold. They go to a warehouse and realize they bought a bag full of rocks.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you do have the gold, how do you travel with it?
Right. How do you actually break that up and do it? Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I got an analogy, a little bit of a plug here for Jamar, or a lot of bit of a plug. So people that watch this show that have been listening to me for a while know that I've gone through a weight loss journey the past couple of years. I lost a bunch of weight. I gained a little bit back. I'm back, on this journey again. And one thing that's happened to me in the past, say 3 years, is I have a very strong education on nutrition. And so the correlation to this and what Jamar does is, if you would think of Jamar as a financial nutritionist. And so what happens is you chase, like most people, and we bring up this meme coin because it's funny, right? But most people chase meme coins because they don't have a financial education and they don't necessarily know. And the meme coin is the equivalent of the fad diet. I tried keto, it didn't work. I'm going to be fat forever, or whatever. What Jamar does, when I say financial nutritionist, and maybe we need to coin this and do some more marketing with that, but like, he lays it out so simply, and it's not just crypto. He's known for crypto, but it's all markets, and it's really helping you understand just financing in general, and so that you can pivot and adapt, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the markets are doing. You can always make money, and you can always be profitable, and you can always, once you meet somebody that's a nutritionist and breaks down how food actually is consumed and what it does to your body, and you have that education, you can always forever be good and not feel like you're on a diet. That's where I'm at right now with nutrition. I know my macros. I know exactly what foods to stay away from. I know my sugar counts. I have an education. Jamar provides you with that education, which the plug, dcgtrial.com. Go ahead and go to that. If you have no idea, I'm bringing this to realtors because I think more agents need more financial education. We all need more financial education, right? And so when these things happen in July, this is happening. Central bank digital currency is happening. Are you able to speak educatedly to a consumer, to a buyer or a seller? How is this going to impact your listing? How can you professionally advise me? And yes, you want to be white glove and help people out. And there's certain liabilities as a real estate agent. You don't want to pretend like you're an expert, but you need to be able to have educated conversations. And I think Jamar, I know Jamar helps a lot of people do that. And that's why he's one of my best online friends. We joke a lot. We've never met in person. But that's why I have him on the show. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you think of, for a realtor, what is the currency right now? Right. If you're a marketer as a realtor, it's your information and intention is a currency. How do you separate yourself from the other realtors out there? You're trying to get a homeowner to listen to you. The attention is your lead, is your currency. So even talking different as a realtor or a real estate agent and giving them different, viewpoints is a currency that a realtor can use. You have everyone right now is giving out free information on Twitter and free home evals. They're all using the same thing, right? But the realtor that's now saying, "Hey, I have buyers that are in crypto. I have, a manufacturer that help you with solar." Like the things they're interested in, just a different approach to it, armed with information, makes you more valuable.
Yeah, Gene is so. Gene, what's a perfect example, dude? Like you get somebody. Jamar just broke it down as far as topics, right? So this is a Greg question, because Greg always throws these up to you. As a marketer, as somebody who helps people do video at scale, like we always talk about differentiating yourself and your message and your market. Like, how many videos could you come up with in the next 24 hours if you really put your thinking cap on about how does crypto affect listings? How does solar affect listings? How all these different intricacies that you could make videos about, and or blog posts and or written word, that push you and slice you through your market that nobody's talking about?
Well, I would say this a lot, right?
Yeah.
With the use of Chat GPT and Bard and other AI vehicles, 500.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
that's easy.
Right. So like even in a zip code, if you knew how many foreign buyers, were buying in that zip code, and do the foreign buyers pay higher or lower price for homes.
Right.
You know, to me, I would assume that the foreign buyers are going to pay more because they don't get to see the property and they're being sold by a realtor. So you're saying, hey, well, I have more foreign buyers in my, you know, in my bag, and they normally pay more. Now it sets me up where I can sell your house for more because I have more foreign buyers. Because in your zip code, the last 12 months, you know, XYZ foreign buyers, and they paid 3% more. It's just like the information makes a realtor or a anyone more valuable.
So, all right, ready? So now let's go into one of these couple questions that I had. All right, so here's the next one. And I think, unfortunately, that some of these are coming from the negative side because I think this is a lot of what people are reading in the media and probably what a lot of people are worried about, right? So we talk about currency in
Don't
general.
worry, 80% of people are negative. So that's how the brain works.
I think you're being nice. 80? I'm thinking like 96. You're pretty nice. But let's talk about bank runs, right? With all the stuff going on right now, First Republic just got taken over. They had those other, you know. What do you think? What's your opinion on the bank run? Is it going to happen? And I don't let the people understand here. I'm going to let you answer this, but I don't think this isn't financial advice for folks, right? I'm just slowly asking for your opinion. If you do want to give financial advice, please do, and let them know that. But my question to you is going to be this. In light of these things that are changing, do you think there's going to be a giant bank run? Do you think that my cash is safe in banks, or should I pull it? And if I was going to pull it, what would I do with it?
Here's my true opinion. The majority of Americans don't have enough money in the bank. 80% of the people have less than $4,000 in the bank to be worried about the bank runs. So if they're pulling it out, they're not worried because they don't have enough money in the bank. 80% of the population. The guys that do have money, they have assets, they have stocks, they have other vehicles. And so all their money is not even in the bank, right? So the majority of people, they're not worried about bank runs because they don't have enough money to pull out.
Isn't that really good timing? Right?
I mean,
is that crazy timing that it happens just right now and those are the numbers? Or does that have something to do with massive amounts of inflation that were pumped in so that nobody has money in the bank so that this new transition can happen?
I mean, that is the entire, I mean, more people, they said 75% of millennials, you know, have more credit card debt. They're at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't even have the money in the bank. And normally a recession takes 2 or 3 years to really see the impact. Right. And so right now people are still going through their savings. They're living paycheck to paycheck even more. 75% of the millennials are living paycheck to paycheck. So if they were to pull their money out of the bank, most of them could pull it out and put it in a shoebox because it's not that much. They're not worried about it being stolen. Right. And the guys that have funds, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're pulling it in real estate and land. They're actually buying assets, stocks. That's why the stock market continues to go up. No matter how much inflation, where else are you going to put your money?
Yeah.
So the people that are able to buy stocks and bonds and you know, they're invested in the market. There's not a bunch of rich guys just having a ton of money sitting in the bank.
Yeah.
So the bank runs, you know, this whole Silicon Valley, did it impact the average person, or did it impact the, you know, upper middle class, wealthy individuals that had to make payroll in Silicon Valley? You know, that really impacted rich folks, right?
Yeah.
Wealthy guys, right? And then the government covered them.
When does that run out, though? So, because here's what's going to happen, I think. You make some great points there, by the way. I think, so think about if, in the Silicon Valley example, if this were to happen to a bunch of companies around the world and these large companies weren't able to make payroll to the people that are living check to check, isn't there going to be some kind of trickle down to the lower and middle class folks that are reliant on that money to come through at some point? Like when does the government stop going, here, we're gonna help you again and again and again, to where this thing blows up? Do we run the risk there?
I mean, so since we're talking conspiracy, right? We can we just rewind back to 2020 when COVID happened?
Sure.
And the government told everyone to just stay in the house.
Yeah.
And the government says, hey, well, we're going to send you some money so you'll be okay. We're going to send the companies money. So what happens if the government goes digital and says, hey, you know what? everything that you have in your bank account, the banks are insolvent. There's over 199 banks that are down. We're just going to send you a wallet. Download this wallet, and we'll just put that money onto your digital wallet now,
or more for an incentive. Yeah,
right. We're going to eliminate that dollars that you have in your bank, and we're going to just allow you to come over here on this digital wallet, and we'll give you the same balance.
And what happens when, let's say, government programs to purchase housing only come in central bank digital currency, and then there's a deciding factor where it's regulated to where certain people can qualify based on if they have that wallet, if they've transitioned to that system, and now the only way you can qualify for any kind of grant in your city or whatever is to transfer over to the new system and have those funds through there.
I mean, you guys don't find it, just a coincidence that the real ID and leaving the country and being able to put information on that license, that you have your health vaccination and you have your social credit score, that can all be tracked through a new ID and wallet that we all supposed to have. Yeah. So if you have a real ID, then maybe you'll be able to get a new wallet. Because they also talked about issuing in state of California, they gave a middle income debit card.
Yeah.
They sent you a debit card and says, hey, we'll just load money on it for you.
Right.
So if it's digital wallet, I think the people that, are starting to use Zelle and Cash App, isn't that considered a digital wallet?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
And, Starbucks rewards, people keep money on a rewards card. Now they keep it in an Apple. Isn't that another form of banking?
Yep.
Right.
Isn't Starbucks one of the biggest banks because of that?
Yep.
It's bigger than most regional banks, right? Yeah. They have more depositors than most regional banks.
Right.
So banking is changing.
Incredible, dude. So Starbucks has to give nothing out in advance for that. Like, they're just like, for the promise of some coffee later, give us your money now.
So banking is going to change, because imagine having so right now, if you had American Express, right, you get to go in a special lounge. Yeah, if you have a Marriott Visa, you get to go into Marriott's and get a free night, right? If the banks in the future don't give out anything for free, why would I have my money there?
Right.
Why wouldn't I just have it on Apple Pay or have it on Cash App where I can get rewards and I get the 1% they're giving you isn't enough. So banks, right, are going to be like Hollywood Video if they don't adjust.
Yeah.
Right. Blockbuster Video, they don't adjust.
Right.
So the government is already adjusting. That's why they have Fed now. They know that they need to compete with global payment systems.
Yeah.
A remittance system that can happen in real time. The old system of taking your money and trading it at night and then giving it to you in 2 or 3 days is going to be obsolete. They actually want to stop crypto trading from 24/7. That's one of the things that they want to prevent from guys from trading, because now it's like, why would I trade the stock market when I can trade Forex? I can trade crypto that's 24/7.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the biggest question of the day. I think this is going to be the hardest one to answer. With AI and all this conspiracy theory we're talking, how long do you think before the human race is extinct, and why 12 months?
I think the human race is already brainwashed and consumed with TikTok and social media, so they're not really thinking. So when we talk about the zombie apocalypse, the zombies walking around, maybe we have a lot of zombies now that don't realize it. They're not thinking free.
Yeah. No, I think you're right about that. And I really do have 2 more real questions. Like this one, I think I already know the answer because you sort of answered it a little bit, but government oversight into this stuff and control of these apps and regulations around it make me nervous. The social credit score potential doesn't make me nervous because my social credit score is going to be decent, but I don't like that slippery slope. When I think of all these things that are going on, like for me, Bitcoin was attractive and sexy at one point because there was no oversight. Well, how do you feel about oversight? How do we? Let me just leave it there. How do you feel about oversight?
I'm one of those the glasses half full type guys. I believe that you can be in a negative place for a long time. I believe crypto is part of the new world order, right? I believe that it is for tracking, control people that control the resources. So, at the end of the day, you still have to take care of our family and you have to be aware of what's happening. We're still going to live, right? And so I want to make the best of life, and being free and having a choice, is really important for your free will, and for me. So I don't think we're going to stop crypto or we're going to stop CBDCs. We don't have a majority. The majority of people will wait until things happen and then they adjust to it, right? They waited on COVID and we're told they can go back outside. They didn't think that it was experimental. Like they think, people have best interests. So for me, it is just doing the best for my family and trying to maintain, the option to have a free choice, free will.
Education.
Knowing
What's going on.
Knowing what's going on and understanding, you have to make choices to stay free.
Yeah. That timing is important. The timing of all this I think is important. My tinfoil hat back on, like you said, 80% of people have less than $4,000 in the bank. And at the same time, this transition to money, to more support, right, is also at a time where there's a lot of people screaming about artificial intelligence taking hundreds of thousands of jobs, right? And so I'm heavily invested in the artificial intelligence side with likely.ai, and I'm privy to stuff that most people don't get to see. And it is scary, but it is exciting. And it's just like anything else. It's the ultimate leverage. But what's interesting is the timing of all of this. So when we talk about transitioning into this other currency, you have the lowest amount of actual cash in people's banks ever. And you have this new technology that some people are screaming, why isn't this regulated yet? Why is this allowed to be 20? Why are all these developers allowed to just run with this with no oversight and take hundreds of thousands of jobs before it's too late? Is it a perfect scenario to where you are going to have to get a monthly CBDC check from the government in order to just survive because you didn't have any cash to begin with, and now a robot's taking your job and or artificial intelligence is taking your job?
I mean, think about it. If that was the case and you're really fearful of AI, why wouldn't you be learning as much as possible about it? If you're really fearful and thinking that all this negative stuff is going to happen, then why don't you embrace it and learn as much as you can?
That was a softball. I threw that softball up for you. I knew how you were going to respond to that, but that's it's about pivoting, right? It's about getting the education, and then how can you take it and use it for your advantage, right?
People are terrified of AI and oh man, it's terrible. But then there's other guys that are embracing, making, is going to take advantage of it, and they're going to do great for their family.
Right.
And you're not going to stop it because it's already out of the bag.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're already talking about how this is another one of those times in history where the most millionaires are going to be made over the next 12 months in AI, right? And it's not going to be you if you're not following it, right? You're not going to stumble into it by accident.
I mean, it's true. It's happening.
Yeah,
it is happening, right? I mean, the realtors have just put out regular guys that's doing photography that's not using AI to create, multiple images of their properties, right? You can have one guy with one staff. You don't need 20, designers or photographers. You have drones that are helping. I mean, like there's technology that is giving new guys opportunities. And I think that's just the way technology works. Every 6 months, you're going to advance.
All right. I'm going to serve this one up. I'm going to really put you on the spot now, Jamar.
All right.
And then Nick, I'm going to let you tie it all together in a bow. So you got me thinking, and I know what space you come from. What are the three things? You have kids?
Yes, I have 2 daughters.
How old? So do I.
16 and 6.
Okay, awesome. So what are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that if they came to you and said, Dad, what are these 3 things that I absolutely need to be doing in the next 2, 5, 10 years? And maybe it's reading a book. Maybe you go, this book absolutely needs to be consumed, and then take your money and move it all 80% of it to USDC. I'm just throwing stuff at you.
Right.
What are 3 absolute points that Jamar James is telling the people closest to him that they absolutely must do in the short term and in the long term?
Learn how to build communities. Right. There's
That's
protection.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Learn how to build communities. Understand trading, energy. To me, energy is the most important commodity that you're going to have in the future. And guys are getting filthy rich off of energy trading, right? Because that is, if we're talking about AI and we're talking about currency and we call it all this digital stuff, what does it need to run? It needs energy, utilities.
Yeah.
Right. And, to me, it is, independence, right? Whoever can lead and have leadership qualities, right? And you have communities, people are going to be more fearful, more lost, and need direction, right? And that's something that we lose in value because they're getting a direction from crowdsourcing, social media, and just information.
Clickbait.
Nobody knows what to believe. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Mm.
So we need more leaders, right? And our generation, my kids' generation, they think they're connected, but they're not. They're on social media where the messages could be directed towards them, right? Human energy is still more powerful than AI, right? When you meet a person and you can feel the vibe and you feel the emotion, you can feel the fear. That's something AI can't do, right? We still have a human connection. And so I think humans forgot that humans are the most important. Like, if we don't need money and we have our own community, we can grow our own food, we can have our own resources, right? We can barter amongst each other, right? If we have our own community, right, we can be immune to the outside world. But if you're stuck by yourself, it's like the zebra analogy. The most powerful zebras are in the middle of the pack. The ones that are weak are on the outskirts because they all look alike.
Mm-hmm.
So the lions go after the ones that are on the outskirts, but the strongest zebras are in the middle. They're camouflaged by the crowd, by the community.
I got to tell you, if you would have let me guess for the next 22 years what the 3 things would have been, I don't think I would have got one of them. That was good stuff, though. Man, I think there needs to be a trifecta at some point, right? We got to go to stage 3. I mean, Jamar's going to end up being a regular guest on the show.
Yeah.
Because of the times we're in. This is crazy. So tell people, Jamar, real quick, how they can get in touch with you. Talk a little bit about your DCGtrial.com. Let the people know what they can get.
So, I have one of the few crypto courses that is credited that you can get college education for, and it's the 7-step challenge intro to crypto. And for me, I believe in the law of discovery. So I believe the best way for you to learn is to do things, right? So I take you through 7 steps of what you need to learn in crypto to actually understand the ecosystem. And you go through these 7 steps, and it's kind of like the intro. I call it level 1. Before you try to make money or live a lifestyle of a trader, you need to know the foundation. And so I created a 7-step challenge, 7 days or 60 minutes a day, just to do these 7 steps. And you can take that trial through DCGtrial.com. It's the 7 steps that we have you do, and we support you. And then over that, you can find me on Jamar James on Instagram, Facebook, on TikTok on my DCG Mastermind, and also have JamarJames.com. So I use my name because I think that's our beliefs and who we are is what people.
And make sure you tell the people you do not take money from anybody on any messaging. There's been a lot of people that spam as Jamar asking for crypto and Bitcoin. So Jamar will never ask you for anything, right?
I don't take anybody's money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an educator. I don't trade for anyone. I trade my own money. They say the most successful hedge funds, right, don't even take outside money. They trade their own money. And so we believe in that. We believe in the freedom and independence. I believe in, you learning how to become your own bank, and becoming your own bank is a mindset that I can take care of myself. So for us, inside the mastermind, we believe that we don't work for anyone. We work for ourselves. We work for our family. And, I'm not going to have a bank and give my money to someone else to trade it. and manage it for me. I work too hard for it. And then my time, right? We spend our time getting money, and then you give all the time that you spent trying to make money, and you give it to someone else to manage. You set yourself up for failure. So for us, we really believe in learning how to self-manage, lead, and be independent.
Love it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. On my name, you guys know me for a long time. Jamar's the real deal. Go check him out. And if you want to find out how to build a community, actually join DCG and see what he's done, because I love that community aspect. And it's really what's happening right now in the world, right? That if you look at the best realtors in your market, I promise you, Jamar says community, Realtor Talk, we say database and sphere. Okay.
Right.
The realtors that have the best businesses, the biggest businesses, have an unbelievably strong community and or sphere to back them up, and they are leaders in their community. They bring people together, and they actually help people with real value. And so Jamar does that in spades with DCG. One of my best friends, love him, and go follow him. That's all I got to say.
For all the realtors out there, think about this. You can lose all your money. You can lose your office. You can lose your cars, but someone can't take your relationships, right? If you treated people well and you build a community, you'll be right back on top, right? And so your name and your word and who you are is what people buy into.
Nikki, something tells me that's going to be a quote.
Yeah, it might be. We might have to. Right. There's a lot of clips. There's a lot of clips with this one.
All right, shut her down, Zach.
All right.
So,
appreciate you guys.
So we always do bows on the show, right? We're gonna ask Gene, give me a color for the bow on the show. What do you got?
I'll go money green today.
Money green.
Yep.
Mr. Jamar, what do you got?
True blue.
True blue. All right, money green and true blue. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. As Greg says, and we believe too, we can't do the show without you. So make sure you go to iTunes and give us a 5-star, not a 2-star, as he says, review. And we'll see you on the next episode. And also, please put in the comments if you want Jamar to come on again, because he might just be a regular. Until then, peace out.
Thanks for having me.
We gone.